the Pay Me No Mind. This cycling update. This is I think this is on the Living Your Life playlist here on the channel. It's just very basic beginner cycling talk, uh, fitness talk, personal discovery, however you want to look at it. The last update that I did was talking about average mile per hour or miles per hour, and the data or the signal on my phone was hating on me, and I didn't get to drive home the real point that I was trying to make. For anybody that's considering getting into cycling, especially men, I can only really speak for the men. The one great benefit that I think that I see, or the one major appealing factor to cycling, is that as you continue to age, you can go out on a bike and do some pretty phenomenal stuff that you can't do with the other sports. I don't think that thought made it into the last update. But yes, I'll repeat that. Getting into your 40s, getting into your late 30s, your 40s and your 50s, and going into your 60s and even some early 70s, you can come across some different individuals who do some real, you see them doing something and you be like, man, that dude is a beast, or that woman is a beast. I've been in some groups and it was a 60-year-old woman that was hanging, that I was trying to hang with and keep up with. So that's what I was trying to say with the whole average mile per hour thing. You might go to play some pickup basketball and you getting embarrassed and getting your ankles broken by a 16-year-old, 17-year-old. You can't, your vertical leap is gone. Your knees are already bad in your mid 40s and whatnot. So I'm just saying, even at the gym, that's maybe not a good example. But a lot of the stuff that you would go do, and as men, we want to be relevant, we want to be active, we want to be able to have an impact when we go to do different things. It just seems like a lot of other sports, your window of being dominant starts to narrow and close very quickly, after 35. So that's what I was really trying to drive home. Now, new goal achievement, personal goal achievement. Again, with when you start looking at your numbers that you get out of whatever data you're looking at or numbers you're looking at, like I said, one of those key things will be average miles per hour and whatever distance you're riding. If you ride 5 miles total for a 20 mile per hour average, okay, that's something. But if you did 20 miles per hour for 20 miles or 30 miles, that's more meaningful. But anyway, one thing that I was chasing was I was trying to do a ride at 20 miles or greater for 20 miles in distance for a 20 mile per hour average. So last check-in on cycling, I was talking about this local ride that they do every Wednesday night. It's a group of what if you just drove by them, it looks like a group of very serious cyclists. It's a lot of, and then if you actually ride with them and you start knowing what's going on, you'll see that there's some people out there with some serious equipment, and then if you ride with them, you'll see that there's some dudes, it's some riders, male and female, in this group that are really pushing. They're pushing it. They're pushing what they can do, and the performance that they're striving after higher levels of performance. So I got several invites to go out and ride with that group. People started hitting me up on Strava. People started reaching out to me through other people that I know who were out trying to push themselves. And they like, oh, well, bring that other guy. Bring that other guy I always see you riding with. I was the other guy. So I showed up to this group, and I told you last week I finished the route, 26-mile route. I finished it with a 19.3 average miles per hour. My personal record, my PR. But I was like, man, I know I can hit 20. I know I can do 20. I just didn't know where the hell I was going. So I had to keep slowing down to get in with the group of people who knew the directions. And then also I realized that when I tried to jump out and go on my own, I was doing too much work trying to ride by myself. So you got to get in a group to keep the wind and the elements off of you and not kill your engine, your energy. So I went back last night. Unfortunately, several of my club members that I was hoping would show up, they didn't all show up. One of them had a commitment, and it was also supposed to be, the forecast was scattered showers. So they didn't show up. I saw very early in the day that it looked like the weather was going to hold up. So I'm like, we're going to get out here and knock out this 20 miles per hour. We're going to do it tonight. I did it, but I didn't do it. On my cycling computer, it said 20 miles per hour at the end of the route. That's what my average miles per hour was. I was cool with that. But I knew when it went to Strava, the app that the Facebook app for outdoors people or activity people or fitness people, I knew when it posted on there, it was going to take some tenths away from me. So on Strava, it said I did like 19.8. I was like, man, how you going to take my 0.2 of a mile per hour from me? And then on the Garmin Connect app, which is it's like the companion app for all of your Garmin devices, it had on there that my average moving speed whenever I was moving was 20.1. So obviously I'm rocking with Garmin for my official performance for last night. So I all that said, I accomplished my goal before the end of the season to ride for a 20 mile per hour or 20 average mile per hour for a ride of 20 or more miles in total distance. Hopefully that none of that is confusing. But like I said, I think for men especially, when you get involved with different activities, you don't want to suck. You don't want to be you don't want to be in the back. You don't want to be at the bottom of the sheet. You want to go out there and kick some ass. You want to win, or you want to beat yourself, or you want to beat the course. That's why people go golf. That's why you bowl. You want to be a scratch bowler. You want to be a scratch golfer. If you in a billiards league or a pool league, you want to be the baddest dude, the baddest stick in the house or whatever. If you bowling, you want to be the anchor bowler. You get to a certain age, this is what you got to rely on to matter, unfortunately. All of us, we're not Jay-Z, and we're not LeBron and whoever else is out here making moves. A lot of us, we got what we got. So right now, like I said, I've been rocking with cycling, and it was for my first year of riding with others. I think I did. I think I've done very well with accomplishing the little goals that I set. Shit, I didn't even know these goals. Some of these goals, I didn't even know it was a goal. Over the course of the season, it became a goal. And so I think at the beginning of the season, averaging like 14 miles per hour was a struggle. Then I got to 15 miles per hour. And then only just 2 weeks ago did I do my first ride over 20 miles, over a distance of 20 miles. Just 2 weeks ago, I hit 17 miles per hour for the first time. So I was patting myself on the back for that. And then, like I said, 2.5 weeks later, I got 20. I got in a 20 mile per hour ride. So I'm not gonna say that's for everybody, or that maybe it's nothing really all that exceptional, but it mattered to me. So that's pretty much what the check-in was all about. Was just setting a goal, defining a goal for myself, and then seeking out a way to achieve it, which was just getting out here and riding, and getting out there riding with people who would push me. And like I said, I was cool with my Tuesday and Thursday night club, but the numbers and the turnout over there started to change. And then that really wasn't allowing me, that wasn't pushing me to whatever my next goal was. So this new, this different group that I've run into on Wednesday nights, which is actually like just 5 miles away from my house, which is a great benefit. I went out to that group. And like I said, last week, the first ride, 19.3 average miles per hour. This week, last night, I went back out there and, got the 20. So now, the goal becomes, can you hit 21, Wood? I'm not really going to try that. But if the right people showed up, if I showed up and the right people were involved, I'd probably take a run at it, because I'm just that hard-headed. But I know in our reality, realistically, probably 20.5 to 20.8, probably be about the best I could do. One thing that I noticed last night, two things affected me. One, for some reason, my cycling computer was not telling me the directions. I noticed that from the first turn that we had, my cycling computer wasn't telling me the directions. So I couldn't jump out on my own when I wanted to, because I still didn't know where the hell I was going after riding that route for just one time. The other thing was, last week when I went out there and did the 19.3, I didn't ride with my club the night before. I didn't do my Tuesday night ride. So when I got out there last Wednesday, I just had more energy. My legs were stronger. This week, I did do our Tuesday night ride with my regular club, and I rode pretty hard. I did a couple of sprints where I was really pushing it. So when I got out there last night trying to eclipse this 20 mile per hour milestone, on a couple of on a couple areas with a slight incline, a slight grade of like 1 to 2%, I didn't have it, and I couldn't find it. So that stretch affected my end result. And then lastly, the big learning curve issue was another thing that actually affected me last night, now that I think about it. Last week when I went out there and rode to get the 19.3, I actually started riding as hard as I was, and as aggressively as I tried to ride, or as I rode, I started tearing up my rear wheel. And then last Thursday, the night after, I went out for another ride that I thought was going to be at a lower, speed, lower intensity, because I thought it was an older group of riders. I get out there and they start acting up. So by the time I finished that ride, my rear wheel was all over the place. It didn't feel right. It felt loose, and something was going on back there. So anyway, long story short, I take my bike in to get it fixed last Sunday, and it couldn't be fixed. I had to buy a set of used wheels, because I actually, in riding aggressively, I was pulling the spokes up from the base of the wheel, and the wheel was trash. In like four points where the damn, the spokes connect to the wheel, it was cracked. So it didn't need to be tightened up and trued. Those wheels were could no longer be used. So I had to pay some money because I needed my bike. Because I'm riding an event. I'm riding in an event tomorrow night and Saturday morning. And so last night when I'm out on the ride, it was a couple of points at the end when I'm seeing my numbers change and messing with the goal that I had. I get to these last set of hills where I needed to use the momentum from the flat to get to the hill, and I needed to power up that hill. But because I just spent a few $100s replacing something from last week, I just set my ass down I stayed seated or in the saddle, and I tried to calmly go up those last sets of hills versus really attacking them and standing up and trying to maintain my momentum the way that I did the week before. And so it cost me. You know, my miles per hour came down significantly on these last 4 hills, where if I would have rode them the way that I did last week, you know, I probably wouldn't have dropped off, you know, on the numbers that I was watching. But that was a decision I had to make. I mean, I can't afford to replace, you know, a set of wheels or a rear wheel every other ride. I just can't do it. And then one of the options that I discussed with the cat at the bike shop was, and I've heard Clydesdale before in the jogging world, in the jogging community, but there is actually a Clydesdale wheel for heavier riders, or, you know, more aggressive riders probably too. But, you know, if you're up over 225 pounds, when you're doing different things on a bike and riding aggressively, it's compromising or potentially compromising the componentry on your bike. And I had heard already about spinning, and I'm gonna get ready to shut this down. But I had heard already and was familiar with being the concept of mashing versus spinning. And mashing, kind of riding like that on your pedal strokes and trying to ride aggressively and faster, all of that's doing, all of that is potentially damaging your cassette and your chain and your you know, your chain ring and whatnot. So, you know, that's something to consider, so that you're not coming out of your pocket for all of this stuff. And that's why I said this is some beginner stuff. But if you can smooth all of that out, if you weigh less, you know, that's less wear and tear on the components on your bike. And that's less money coming out of your pocket. That's less downtime with your bike. And if you've already went out there and bought you a more expensive bike, you know, $2,500 to $5,000, you don't want to tear your bike up. So I had to make that decision last night. Like, how hard do you want to ride? And you know that you just spent a couple $100s last week fixing your bike. What are you really gonna, you know, they ain't handing no metal out at the end of this ride. So do what you can, but, you know, don't tear your bike up. So anyway, that was this week's accomplishment. That was kind of like this week's breakthrough with cycling. You know, if there's any newcomers to the cycling world that come across this video, you know, what have you had? You know, what developments or breakthroughs have you had? What milestones have you hit? Weight loss, best, you know, the longest ride that you've had of the season. Was there a number of events that you participated in? Let me know. I'd be interested in chopping it up with you. Again, pay me no mind. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Have a phenomenal weekend. Hopefully, you know, if you are out, I don't care if you kayaking, canoeing, hiking, walking on trails, whatever. Hopefully, you know, you maximize your downtime and, you know, your time away from work to be your best you, or to work on being your best you. Again, my name is Wood. Let me get on out of here. Peace.